Good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the season finale of the 2021 championship season. Jesse Turner walked away with the 2021 championship after Rockingham winning for the 9th time this season and extending the championship lead to the point where nobody could chase him down to take the title back away. Turner joins the elites, Jacob Hart, Richard Johnson, Nick Mace, and DJ Curtis as the only drivers to score 2 championships. Jordan Davis as well is on that list, but Davis 3 titles. Turner going into next season will be going into that season shooting for the 3rd title. But to wrap it all up for the 2021 championship season, Turner is on pole and looking for a 10th win this season. Alongside of him is his teammate Jake Bassinger. Bassinger's not won since round 6 of Carbondale. He's won 2 times on the season, but it has been a long time since Bassinger's been in victory lane. He's looking to cap off a long dry spell for him and get back to victory lane for the 3rd time this season. Zach Rodgers, he had a poor run at Rockingham, and he's looking to cap off his career and what should be his final race in the FBRL. There's a lot of storylines to cover coming into this event. A lot of drivers moving around going into 2022. This is the last race for many drivers for their respected race teams that they've drove for this season. Rodgers alongside Zayden Davidson. Davidson will be in that car next season. Bobby Jones and Ryan Griffin in row 3. None of them returning for MER next season. But that is the first 3 rows. Let's get down to start the race as the field rolls off to finish the final race of the 2021 championship season. What a year it has been in the Sony Cup Series. Turner Performance Racing has won 14 of the 29 races this year, and they're looking to win one more time to win half of the races this season. I don't believe an organization has ever done that, but it could very well happen in this race. The top 2 winning drivers this season, it's been Curtis and Turner. They have won 9 and 5 races. That is 14 races this season, and I think that's the most of any driver of the top 2 drivers of the series. A lot of news really to cover coming into this race. You know, Rodgers, he's starting in P3. This should be his last race in the FBRL. Also, some drivers, not Sebastian Kukulon. The 79 is Don LaPrade. Toby Christie in the 0. You see him back there around 20th. And Huck Davis in the 08. A lot of storylines to cover, but the green flag is about to get underway. We're going to follow those storylines as the race progresses. We're racing at Charlotte. Down the back straightaway for the first time tonight, Zach Rodgers is alongside of Jake Bassinger for P2. Hero Motorsports, what a terrible weekend they had out at Rockingham, but at Charlotte, look at this. The 99 on rails as he shoots the 2nd place. Zach Rodgers in what should be his final FBRL race. Up in the 2nd, but Zayden Davidson looking to try and take that away. Oh man, Don LaPrade looks like he's almost in the wall. They're nearly 4 wide with Samuel England. Lamas, door to door. Cody Lamas, one of the drivers that are staying put with their race team where they're at going into next season. Kyle Collins, he will not be back with Horizon Group for next season in 2022. Huck Davis in the 08. Not entirely sure where he's going to be driving off the top of my head, but he will be racing in the Napa Truck Series. They're nearly 4 wide here with Red Bull. Red Bull gets put in the wall. Samuel England bounces off the wall. Dylan Schwellenberg squeezes past. Dylan Schwellenberg is fighting to be 2nd in the championship at the end of this season. He's trying to be runner-up in the title. He's only 5 points to the good on DJ Curtis coming in this race. And Curtis has looked a little bit better than Schwellenberg all weekend in terms of pace. But as we go along, Zach Rodgers has dropped outside the top 5. Zayden Davidson's up into 2nd. Griffin battling with Bassinger for 3rd place. Matthew Rodriguez coming to join the party. Bassinger in the 97, like we mentioned in the pre-race. It's been since Carbondale for him. 2 times this season. Jake Bassinger has won California and Carbondale. That was a long time ago for him, but he's trying to get another race win. Matt Rodriguez had a car, I believe, could have won this race in the season finale last season and could have won the championship if he had not gotten in that wreck. Well, Rodriguez is going to try and get redemption from last year and put another win on another 1.5-mile track. He won at Kansas, and he won at Atlanta. Atlanta on fuel mileage. Monster Energy Racing has 2 of their race cars here in the top 10. Griffin trying to get back in the top 5. Bobby Jones trying to follow him. They're 3 wide down the back straight away. John Art in the 43 looking pretty good early on. He's in the top 10. Allen Family Racing Team has struggled in the second half this season. Art will be back in that 43 car. His teammate Ryan Acosta will not be back with Allen Family Racing Team after 7 years with that organization. And Acosta in the 45 should be further back in the running order. There he is with his teammate Chris Dodd just outside of the top 30. Important to note as we look for some drivers, the battle for the top 30 in owner points is going to heat up this race. The 22 Fisher Motorsports team is in the top 30 in owner points to be locked in for the first 4 rounds of the 2022 season, but only by 3 points over Jordan Fisher. Also, Kyle Collins and Vince Freeze. They need to make up a load of points on that 22 team if they want to surge themselves back into the top 30 in owner points. It is still up for grabs, but Freeze and Collins, they're going to need to probably try and run in the top 15 and the top 10 possibly to be able to make that happen. Collins in the 86 following Richard Johnson. That is right now in 24th position for Kyle Collins. Toby Christie making his Sony Cup Series debut. He's in 29th position in a CM Racing car alongside Jeffrey White. White is trying to clinch Rookie of the Year for this season. Side by side with Toby Christie. Christie doing a heck of a job on debut. Racing side by side with one of the best youngsters that we have in the series, Curtis Racing. Jeffrey White in the 11, he's way down the order in 29th position, while Samuel England has been in the mix of a lot of beating and banging early on as Tom Capps to Sean Harple put England 3 wide in the middle. England going backwards. Here comes Richard Johnson to the inside of England as well. England needs a Hail Mary in the season finale if he wants to take Rookie of the Year. But I want to go back to that top 30 in owner points battle. For majority of this race, we're going to be talking about next season. And importantly, Fisher Motorsports has sold the 2 cars' owner points to Joseph Strigley Racing. So Joseph Strigley Racing will have that 2 cars' owner points for next season. And Fisher Motorsports is going to be downsizing to a 1-car organization for next season, and that being the 22 car. And it may have been premature to sell off the owner points of the Fisher Motorsports team, because now Fisher Motorsports has priority of wanting that 22 car to be locked in for the first 4 rounds of the 2022 season. Zachary Fitzwater is racing with Ryan Acosta. Huck Davis has fell a ways back in the order. He qualified outside the top 10. And this is the final race for Young Wicked Motorsports. Young Wicked Racing, they have been in the series since 2017. And that's been 5 years, and this team is shutting down. It's a shame to see this team going away. You know, always used to seeing this Arizona T car. But Cybertron Motorsports and Cole Baker will have that sponsor on for next season in a 3rd Cybertron Motorsports entry, and that team will be Mercedes next season. Acosta really wide in turn 3 and 4. We haven't really even focused on the race for the lead, however. This is just outside the top 30. Fitzwater 3 points behind Jordan Fisher in the top 30 in owner points battle. That will be something to watch as the race unfolds. As we come to lap 15, DJ Curtis is trying to close the gap on Jesse Tunner. They've really opened the gap on the rest of the field. You have Tunner, Curtis, Rodriguez, Davidson, Bassinger, Shelley. Turner Performance Racing, superb this season. You cannot deny them. The pace advantage they've had all year has been phenomenal. And Cybertron Motorsports as well. having the 19 and the 91 be as quick as they have been all year long. It's good to see Zayden Davidson really break out this year. Davidson falls down to 5th. Could fall a few more positions. Here comes James Shelley and Dylan Young. Behind that battle, Ryan Griffin, Bobby Jones, Dylan Schwellenberg. Schwellenberg right now would be losing second in the championship to DJ Curtis. But Turner's going to need to fight off one of his biggest rivals this season for the title in DJ Curtis for the race win today. He's got such a fast car. He's about a second ahead of Matt Rodriguez. That would be all the way back to 3rd place. Turner is flying out there, but DJ Curtis is able to be in hot pursuit right behind the 17 Aflac Ford. And Curtis looking for that 6th win of the season. Curtis has never won 6 races in a season. And 6 race wins on the season is insane. You know, Ryan Griffin is the most winning driver in a season without winning a championship. Griffin won 7 times in 2019. Curtis can't win 7 races this season, obviously, but he can win 6. And that would be an insane number. I don't think anybody's ever won more than 5 races in a season without winning the Sony Cup Series Championship. And Curtis is trying to do that. As he goes by Jesse Turner, that is for the race lead. Ryan Griffin trying to race alongside of James Shelley. That's trying to get into 7th position. We're going to try and give you as much battles as possible. We're not going to cut away as much as we usually would. A long ways back from 10th position, Cody Lamas is 3 seconds back to Dylan Schwellenberg. Schwellenberg's in 10th. That is Lamas in 11th. Zach Rodgers is dropped to 12th position. Alex Benyakro's in 13th. 14th is a 3-wide mess with Richard Johnson, Dejon Weeks. Again, another Red Bull put in the middle and pushed back. Charles Sanford loses a position there and drops to 16th. Here comes John Art trying to make a battle on Charles Sanford. Sanford was able to fight back. Jeff James in the 18's in there as well. Dom Capps just hit the wall and loses 19th to the 79. Dunlap-Brad in his first FBRL race in the Sony Cup Series, let alone any other, and he's never raced in the Hardee's National Series, never in the Napa Truck Series, and Dunlap-Brad in the 79, he's got a tall task as well this race. He's also fighting with the Fisher Motorsports cars this race to finish in the top 30 in owner points. And I think he's only a handful of positions. I think he's 5 points ahead of the 22, and then 8 points ahead of the 2 car. I'm going to check real quick. I think that is the battle. Yes, it is. 79 is only 8 points to the good to be locked in for the first 4 rounds of 2022. That is very important because you wouldn't have to use a provisional in the first 4 rounds. And provisionals, it is rumored that the provisionals are going to get adjusted for next season, and they're not going to be as much as they were this season. So you really want to be able to have as much provisionals as possible if you need them in the long run. Samuel England has dropped a few positions. He is down in 20th. He got past of Dom Capps. Capps and Martin Motorsports, they sold off their Hardee's National Series program that they were going to have for next season. And with that money and all that from the Hardee's National Series team, they are going to be looking towards the 2023 regulations. You know, everybody's already been preparing for 2022, so this team is already going to be looking a little bit further ahead when time comes for the 2023 regs to be released. And that's a long time away, but Martin Motorsports has ambitions to be further up the running order in the Sony Cup Series. Sean Harple and team hope that when they get the Mercedes power for next season, and where Mercedes focuses on Cybertron Motorsports and United Emirates Racing, that they will be a lot quicker than what they are this season. Harple started off the year pretty well. You remember, he was inside the top 10 for a lot of races early on in the season. But Harple has slipped, I think, outside the top 15 in the driver standings now. But Harple in the 14, he's had a heck of a year compared to his teammate. Harple's dropped to 20th in points. I didn't think he had dropped that far in the Drivers' Championship, but still, he's doing as good as he can. This team has kind of given up on the program with Ford. Vince Freeze in the 55. We're hearing he's down on power in the 55 car. because he has dropped a handful of positions. He's losing touch with some of his competitors. Jordan Fisher just went right by him, and Freeze really struggling with the handling on his car. He's down to 33rd. A look at some guys that are way back. You know, Nick Mace in the 20. You don't really expect Nick Mace to be running this poorly on the racetrack, but he is in 36th position, a ways back from Huck Davis and Ace Wild, some Napa Truck Series drivers. Mace, Anthony Marchese, last year's Hardy's National Series champion, and Marchese nearly lost his life at this racetrack. You know, this track, Charlotte, nightmare, an absolute nightmare last year. He had to recover, missed a large portion of this season because of his injuries. And then the 33, right now down here in 37th, not the race they would have wanted. Brandon Beal in the 98, down here in 38th position. Charlie Smith, he'll be driving for Horizon Group next season, taking over the 76, the vacated 76 car. Jeffrey Lynn drove that car the last few seasons, but he'll be leaving at season's end. Doug Lockrow, we know he'll be leaving the Sony Cup Series at season's end. Randy Riggs Jr. was able to qualify this car in. He's down here in 41st. And then Hayden Klein last on the lead lap. Race at the front of the field. Jesse Tunner, DJ Curtis side by side going down into turn 1. And Jesse Tunner takes the lead back away from DJ Curtis. Curtis tried to fight it and he caught the wall off of turn 2. Very minimal damage to the 19 car, but Turner is out front again. Caution flag is out on the speedway. Doug Lockrow got spun by Randy Riggs Jr. off of turn 4, and a slide down the front straightaway sent the Flying Aces racing car into the outside wall. Some back-end damage. Luckily, the leaders went flying by and didn't get involved. That was near disastrous for the 05 team. This is the final race for Flying Aces Racing in the Sony Cup Series, and Doug Lockrow and team were hoping to put a positive note at the end of the year, a good finish on the board. But Flying Aces Racing, their Sony Cup Series campaign is over. A look at what happened. Just Randy Riggs Jr. just kind of pushed up, just absolutely got him in the left rear, spun him around, and Doug Lockrow, you know, he was just a corner or two away from winning the Daytona 500, not with Flying Aces Racing, but with Horizon Group in a one-off in 2019. And Lockrow drove for Cloud9 at the start of the year, ended up going over to the 05. Alexander Rowe was in this car, and Flying Aces Racing decided to fold up at the end of the year. And Lockrow, well, you know, he's going to still try and finish this race off, but it's just not exactly the season or the final race this team would have hoped for. Well, the leaders are on pit road. Here comes DJ Curtis leaving pit road. Jesse Tunner is going to be able to leave pit road with the race lead. Jake Bassinger, Dylan Young, Zayden Davidson, then James Shelley, Ryan Griffin, Cody Lamas going to be able to get the jump there. Matthew Rodriguez in car 9. He was in 3rd, but he has lost a ton of positions on pit road, and everyone flying by him. And Rodriguez is way down the running order now. Problems coming back to the green for Ace Wild in the Martin Motorsports car. Wild just barely was able to make the race on speed. He had to qualify in if he wanted to race in the season finale tonight. And it looks like an issue for the 00. But Jesse Tunner in the Aflac Ford is going to bring the field to green on lap 35 out of 100. Tunner is in a great position tonight to be able to put up a huge number, a number I don't know if we ever thought could have happened. You know, 10 wins, 9 wins is superb and amazing, but Tunner has a quick car tonight immediately from the go. He's racing with his rival for the title. You know, these guys are in their prime. Jesse Tunner and DJ Curtis are. They're in their 30s, and they're some of the best drivers of their category. And across all of levels, every season in the Sony Cup Series, I don't think I've ever seen some drivers as good as Jesse Tunner and DJ Curtis. Nick Mace and Richard Johnson in their prime, they were so good. And this just gives me the same vibes and the same competitiveness that Curtis and Tunner give on the racetrack. Curtis is right there on the back end of Jesse Tunner and bringing his teammate along, and Tunner's teammates aren't that far behind. Curtis and Tunner's teammates are right here. Cybertron Motorsports, Tunner Performance Racing, the top 4 teams. Oh, near contact further back. They got into Doug Locker in the 0-5. Trying to scramble past him. 3 wide. Jeff James Benyako trying to get around Hayden Klein. But up front, DJ Curtis is able to take the lead away from Jesse Tunner. Zayden Davidson's going to get the inside as well. Davison wants to get in the mix of this battle for the race lead. Tunner back to third. Curtis wheel to wheel with his teammate. Davidson's still there. A lot of the time this season, Zayden Davidson has been able to match his teammate on the racetrack. But when it comes to this championship battle, a lot, Curtis has been able to deliver. But side by side again, Curtis and Tunner for second position. Bassinger and Shelley are quietly hanging back there inside the top 5. Cody Lamas, Charles Sanford are entering the top 10 for the first time this race. They're not too far behind James Shelley, but it doesn't look like the 48 nor the 5 really have the pace of the front 5 contenders. Tunner clears DJ Curtis, and Curtis looks like he's going to be able to take Bassinger back. Bassinger looked like he was going to be able to move past of DJ Curtis, but wasn't able to do anything with him. Tunner running in the middle line. Charlotte is such a good track. You can run the middle, you can run the top, you can run the bottom. Davidson chose to run the bottom. Tunner's going to go down to the bottom as well. Curtis really has no choice but to run his way up the road. James Shelley moving his way past Bassinger, now past of DJ Curtis. Oh, down the back straightaway. 4 cars sliding. Benyako, Rogers, England. I thought that was John Arndt as well, but a handful of cars. Arndt did wreck. And there's another crash. Zachary Fitzwater, Brandon Beal, and James Silverfox have wadded up down there in turn 3 after the crash happened on the back straightaway. Benyako, the 2019 Hardee's National Series champion, getting rear-ended by Zach Rodgers. Rodgers was trying to come back to the flag. Benyako with engine damage. 4 cars went sliding and slamming into the inside wall down the back straightaway. Gonna get a replay of what happened. You see John Arndt in the 43 way up the road. Here comes Zach Rodgers. Rodgers in the 99 gets in the left rear. Into him in England. Benyako, they slide down the racetrack and into the inside wall. We're looking for what may have caused this accident. It started just a little further ahead. Silver Fox pushed up into Brandon Beal, and Zachary Fitzwater's got a lot of front-end damage. Remember, Fisher Motorsports desperately needs that 22 car to finish in the top 30 in order points if they want Zachary Fitzwater to have a guaranteed starting spot in the first 4 rounds for next season. And Fitzwater, if he's not, he better be hoping that that doesn't damage the radiator on the 22 car. Here's another view of it. Rodgers kind of got in the left rear a little bit, upset the 43. Into Samuel England they went. Benyako, just an unfortunate circumstances, got him involved. And Samuel England's pursuit of the Rookie of the Year honors looks like it could be done. He's got some damage now, and England really needed to run top 10. And needed to do more than just run top 10, because he needed to make up 32 points today. And 30 points is rewarded for 10th place. So he needed to be running in the top 5. He needed a Hail Mary, did Samuel England. And he needed Jeffrey White to have a bad race. So this pretty much wraps up Rookie of the Year, it looks like. More than likely. Looks like everyone's going to come down pit road. Zayden Davidson's the race leader over Jesse Tunner, James Shelley, Bassinger, and Curtis as they hit pit road for the second time. Here comes James Shelley, Cody Lamas, Davidson leaving pit road, but Tunner had the first pit stall, and Tunner's going to beat Zayden Davidson off pit road to take the lead back. And I'm looking, looks like Don LaPrade in the 79 had trouble leaving pit road. Matt Rodriguez just behind. Rodriguez continuing to struggle on pit road this afternoon. Toby Christie further back in his Sony Cup Series debut had a long pit stop. England getting damage repair. Zach Rodgers trying to stay on the race. Coming back to the restart. We should be closing in on halfway in the race. Tunner beat Davidson on pit road. Very important to get clean air. And the green flag flies yet again. Lap car Hayden Klein down the back straightaway, really crowding James Shelley. Down in turn 3, you see Klein, Lockrow, Beal, really slow on the inside. Bassinger, Young, Curtis, they really want the inside to roll, and they want the inside line. But Cody Lamas and Ryan Griffin going around the outside of Brandon Beal. Shelley the outside of Doug Lockrow. This is going to cause another accident, it looks like. Shelley crosses over on the inside of Hayden Klein. Lamas just shoves the 05 into the corner. Last race, that car will be getting any sort of help from the Flying Fox Racing Alliance, which that will be changing names at the end of the season. CM Racing and Curtis Racing having a technical alliance, and they have a name for that. And that should change over to SkyTech Racing or something like that. But they are 3 wide further back, man. It is just crazy all the way around this racetrack. But the top 30 in order points is still raging on. The 2 car is now inside the top 30 in order points, but only just. And Jordan Fisher, that is a family-owned team. And you got to think Fisher Motorsports might be on the call to the 2 team. Oh! Fisher bounces into Vince Freeze. Freeze is now in the wall. You have to think Fisher Motorsports could be on the call to Jordan Fisher to ask if he could give that spot up, and Acosta just does not have a car that can turn. He pushed up again. That's the second time I've seen that in this race. But Fisher, you know, he does not hold the tiebreaker over the 22. The 22 would get the tiebreaker over the 2 car in owner points. So right now, this is exactly what the team want. They want that 2 car to back up to the 22. Zachary Fitzwater needs to pedal it if he wants to be locked in for the first 4 races next year. Very impressive run so far, just past halfway in the race. Dunn LaPrade doing a superb job in his FBRL debut. And he's 3 wide with Eric Tamax, racing with Dejon Weeks, Dylan Young, Don Capps. That is some of the biggest names in the Sony Cup Series in the FBRL going by this 79 car. But when Dunn LaPrade is driving for a car that is right now got 2 of the cars inside the top 5, this is important as well. Dylan Schwellenberg and DJ Curtis are fighting to be runner-up in the championship this season. Not the honors they would have hoped for, but second in the title race. It's up for grabs. Curtis and Schwellenberg right now racing for 5th position. And Curtis needs to gain 5 points on Dylan Schwellenberg. He holds the tiebreaker. He just needs 5 points. And right now, this pass would not be good enough to do it. He needs to get up there and gain a few more positions. Turner leads over Zayden Davidson. Shelley and Bassinger just behind as well. This is an important pass. Fisher gets passed by James Silverfox. So that means right now that we have a tiebreaker for the final top 30 in order points battle. Right now, the 22 would stay ahead of the 2 car in order points at this current moment. But here comes Jordan Fisher backing up again, it looks like. Remember, the team is being told that you can't force the issue. You got to be running at 100% all the time. And Fisher, though, you know, that team has struggled a lot this season. And Fisher Motorsports, this is not the run that they would have want for an organization, but they have really struggled in the second half of the year, and their pace has just not been there at all. Jordan Fisher drops to 33rd, just ahead of Randy Riggs Jr. and Zachary Fitzwater, but importantly for the team, though, the 22 is back in the top 30 in honor points. Jeffrey White continues to make things look very good in his favor to be the 2021 champion for Rookie of the Year. He's right side by side with Ryan Griffin. Griffin's really turned the corner in the second half of this season, performing where he needs to be running, and that's at the top 10. He needs to be up here in the top 10. Griffin usually always was able to clutch up at key moments and grab race wins. He has a big old 0 in the win column this season, and Griffin has been very disappointed with that. He wants to grab a race win. He's trying to fend off the Curtis Racing cars. Curtis Racing is hoping they turn the corner and they're quicker for next season. On pace, they've been around 16th to 24th on raw pace every race weekend. And, well, 2022, you just never know what can happen for that new regulation change. You know, new body modifications. Bobby Jones will be moving over to the Napa Truck Series for next season. And you see how good he is. He's right now, I don't think he is. Currently, I think he's the highest MER driver in the point standings. Coming in, it was Richard Johnson, but they're really close in points. Bobby Jones trying to leave off this season on a high note and beat his teammates in the point standings. Just up ahead, you see Matt Rodriguez. He's in 7th. Curtis and Schwellenberg continue to race. Bassinger has just worked his way past of Zayden Davidson, bringing his teammate James Shelley with him. Turner Performance Racing, 1, 2, 3 again. Last weekend, it was the first time all year and first time ever in the FBRL history a team, or at least first time ever in Sony Cup Series history, a team has finished 1, 2, 3 in the final finishing results. And right now, they look like they could do that again. Turner, Bassinger, Shelley on the podium right now. Little do we know it, but this could be the final race for Jeffrey Lynn in the Sony Cup Series. It could be the final race for a few people. We just never know. But Jeffrey Lynn has not signed a contract to drive in the Sony Cup Series for next season. He's drove for Horizon Group for majority of his career in the modern era. And Lynn in the 76 doing an absolute phenomenal job right now, I would say, to be in the top 15 right now, chasing down Jeffrey White, Cody Lamas, and Dylan Young. That's drivers 11th, 12th, and 13th. And actually, that's to get in the top 10. Jeffrey White really got held up by Zach Rodgers. That team prepared his car as good as they could to repair damage. It's a shame for Zach Rodgers because he qualified P3, but the finish is not going to show the pace potential that they had for this race weekend. Young is back in the top 10. No real changes inside the top 10. Stops are happening. Jesse Tunner is on pit road on lap 77. It looks like this is going to be the final pit stop of the day. Some cars are just now hitting pit road. Rodriguez in the 9 and Zayden Davidson in the 91. They have been on pit road for a very long time. And Rodriguez finally leaving pit road. Davidson is still on pit road. Rodgers actually runs right in the back end of Jake Bassinger momentarily. Bassinger's actually having a little longer pit stop as well. But the 91 and the 9 have been on pit road for quite some time, and that's a shame for them because they were running inside the top 10. Less than 20 laps to go to finish off this season. Jesse Tunner leads after the final round of pit stops. And it's 4.5 seconds on DJ Curtis. Curtis in the 19 was able to get back into second position and fight to be second in the championship standings. James Shelley, third position. Oh, Rodgers and Schwellenberg nearly made contact. Bassinger in fourth. Schwellenberg fifth. Right now, as it runs, Curtis would take second place in the championships from Dylan Schwellenberg. And Schwellenberg, it would be the highest, it's still going to be the highest he's finished in the championship standings. But runner-up this season would be unprecedented from this organization and driver. But it's still up in the air. Bobby Jones trying to hunt down another top 5 this season. Ryan Griffin in 7th. 8th is Cody Lamas. That team has rebounded from Matt Rodriguez and Zayden Davidson's misfortunes. Dylan Young in the 16. He's in 9th. Richard Johnson's in 10th. Chris Dodd and team have done a phenomenal job. Did a great job tonight to get this car in the top 15. He was way back the running order early on. He was outside the top 30. And Chris Dodd's in 11th place as the laps tick away. Dom Caps, I think Martin Motorsports can be pretty happy with Dom Caps' run tonight. Caps is trying to chase down Chris Dodd, but he's also trying to fend off Dejon Weeks, Jeffrey White, and Jeffrey Lynn. Jeffrey White is looking ever better for him. He's only a handful of positions ahead of Samuel England, but all he has to do is finish it out strong. Jeffrey Lynn, Charles Sanford, Eric Tamax, Samuel England, and John Arndt in the 43. I'm just impressed that he's even in the top 20. Look at the back end of that race car. He's in 19th position. 20th is James Silverfox. Then Anthony Marchese still in the lead lap. He was way down the running order early on. while North Boulder Motorsports again knocking on the door of a top 20 run. Dunn LaPrade in his Sony Cup Series, not even just the Sony Cup Series, FBRL debut. Dunn LaPrade, 22nd, but this race car is a race-winning race car, and to be fighting for 20th, I think that's about where you could expect somebody with some experience, but he's got none. So I'm a little surprised with Dunn LaPrade's efforts today. He's ahead of guys like Kyle Collins, Nick Mace. Last car's on the lead lap just before they get to Jesse Tunner. Tunner really putting on a whooping this season, putting an exclamation point on a near perfect season. Jesse Tunner. Tunner has done amazing this year. Matt Rodriguez trying to take his lap back from Jesse Tunner. Then Sean Harple, Ryan Acosta, Toby Christie having a solid clean race in the 0. Then Huck Davis making up the top 30. But Jesse Tunner, the laps continue to tick away. 13 laps to go for Jesse Tunner. James Shelley has got to the back end of DJ Curtis to fight for second position. And Curtis needs every point he can here. And that's another position lost. James Shelley now gaining 50 points. Shelley's also in the battle to try and get 5th in the Drivers' Championship. He's so close to it, but Cody Lamas is putting up just a good enough effort tonight to be fighting for 5th place in the championship. Lamas just good enough right now in 8th place. But Shelley, oh my goodness, Shelley, I don't think it's going to happen right now. He's only, I think, 1 point behind Lamas. And Curtis is going to lose another position, I think. Another position gone. Tunner Performance Racing, 1, 2, 3, 9. Dylan Young back in 9th place. 7.5 second advantage. Tunner back to Shelley. Shelley Bassinger. Curtis doing everything he can, but it's just not good enough. This season has been summarized in the finale. Tunner Performance Racing has just been a skosh better than Cybertron Motorsports, and really so much better than the rest of the field. And well, Jesse Tunner, what can you say? He is fighting to get his 10th win this season, and nobody has ever came close to that mark. We're with less than 5 laps to go to scene history. Jesse Tunner trying to score his 23rd career win and 10th win of this year. Looking at the top 30 in all our points as the laps tick away. Right now, the 79's good, the 76 is good, the 55 and the 86 not doing enough to close the gap. It is between the 2 and the 22. Fisher Motorsports, they only will hold the 22 cars on their points, so they need the 2 car that do not get in the top 30 in all our points. And well, Jordan Fisher is in 31st. The next car is Toby Christie in 30th. Well, Fisher is just a few places ahead of Zachary Fitzwater, but right now the 22 would get the nod and gets that top 30 in order point spot. The laps are ticking away. Jesse Tunner leads as he comes to 2 laps to go. James Shelley and Jake Bassinger race side by side. A engine failure from DJ Curtis. Curtis is not going to fight for the top 3, and he's not even going to finish runner-up in the championship. DJ Curtis with 2 laps to go. The engine has expired on the 19. And DJ Curtis is out of the race, 2 laps shy to the finish. And that's going to hand over runner-up in the title to Dylan Schwallenberg. Wow. But Jesse Tunner's going to receive the white flag, the final lap of the season. Tunner wrapped up the championship 1 race early. A nod to Jordan Davis as the 2nd driver in the last 3 years to wrap up the championship 1 race early. Tunner is a legend of the series. He has gained 9 wins this season. Gonna put an exclamation point on a near perfect season in Tunner rounding turn 4. For the 10th time this season, the champion wins for the 10th time this season at Charlotte. Jesse Tunner and Tunner Performance Racing cap off 2021 with a dominant performance. back-to-back weeks, Turner Performance Racing finishes 1, 2, 3, and the next car is Ryan Griffin. And he is 7 seconds back to the next car, and then Turner is 7 seconds up the road from his teammates. Turner has been outstanding this year. No way to put it. 10 wins on the season is a record I don't think we will ever see touched again. It could happen, but this kind of performance and domination is unheard of. Turner Performance Racing has won 50% of the races ran all year long. Jesse Turner has won 10 races, James Shelley has won 3, and Jake Bassinger has won 2. That is 15 races. Wow. What a season. Jesse Turner putting on a clinic this year. He didn't let up. Won the title last race and won back-to-back races to end the year. He had already won the championship, but he wanted to grab another victory, and he went out and did it. What a year this team did. We have to look back on 2021 as Turner Performance Racing. That was this year. Turner Performance Racing, that was their year. And what a year it was. Congratulations to Turner Performance Racing. We're going to cut straight to the finishing results. Thank you all for watching the 2021 season, and thank you for putting up with me yet another year. And I can't wait to see you guys at Daytona in March. The 2022 season is just around the corner, and I can't wait to talk about it. Be sure to join the Discord down in the description. I've been refraining from talking about 2022 and 2023, but those seasons are confirmed that I will be doing a 2022 and 2023 and hopefully many years to come, because I just have so many plans I want to do with the Sony Cup Series. But anyway, I do not want to ramble. I just want to say thank you to everyone watching for another great season, and I will see you next time. Join us for testing. I'm sure there will be a live stream, but if not, I hope to see you in Daytona in March. Thank you all, and I will see you again. Bye-bye.